Gary Patton, he is a former Monterey County Board of Supervisor and an attorney representing many communities against the fracking industry. Gary?
Senator, thank you. I am Gary Patton, and I'm actually from Santa Cruz County. I was a county supervisor there for 20 years. We fought the oil industry on offshore oil drilling, and I authored an ordinance that our Board of Supervisors adopted. Back in the back of the crowd today is a county supervisor now, John Leopold. He got our board in Santa Cruz County to ban fracking just by local government doing what the people wanted. Now, in San Benito County, where Andy came from, the people had to do it themselves. They had to go to the initiative. I was involved a little bit, but the people did it. Now we're going to do it in Monterey County. You know, as a local official, I know that what government is supposed to do is do what the people want and do what the people need, and the people know what they need. Wouldn't it be great if we had a former local government official as the President of the United States doing what the people want, doing what they need? As a delegate for Bernie Sanders, and I'm going to Philadelphia to vote for him very proudly, and as a local official in this region, welcoming a former local official to this region, here's our next president, Bernie Sanders.
Thank you very much. Let me thank all of those who are here today, especially the many people who have spent years fighting to make certain that our children can live in a clean environment and drink clean water. Thank you all for what you have done. There is a growing movement against fracking that is beginning to spread all across our country. In 2012, my state of Vermont became the first state in the country to ban fracking. Last year, the state of New York became the second state to ban fracking. Santa Cruz, San Benito, and Mendocino counties have banned fracking in California, and so have dozens of other cities and towns all across this country. And I hope very much that Monterey County will continue the momentum that makes it clear that fracking is not safe, not what we need for our kids. And most importantly, let me make it as clear as I can be, that if elected president, we will not need state by state, county by county action, because we are going to ban fracking in 50 states of this country. The growing body of evidence, as you have just heard, tells us that fracking is a danger to our water supply, our most precious resource. We cannot survive without water. It takes 160,000 gallons of clean water to frack a single well. California is in the midst of a 5-year drought. Cities and towns all over the state have been required to reduce their consumption of water by 25%. In my view, it makes zero sense to talk about the urgent need to conserve water on one hand and then give big gas companies a green light to use huge amounts of water through hydraulic fracking on the other hand. Makes no sense to me. Fracking not only threatens our water supply, it is a danger to the air we breathe and can cause lung cancer. It contributes to climate change. It is highly explosive. And it has resulted in more earthquakes, something Californians know a little bit about. In fact, according to a recent report published in the American Geophysical Union, fracking can cause earthquakes several miles away, not only in the short term, but months or even years after the process takes place. Now, Secretary Clinton and I obviously have many differences of opinion on many issues. But on the issue of fracking, our differences of opinion are pretty profound. Secretary Clinton wants to, in one way or another, quote unquote, regulate fracking. Well, I think it is too late for regulating. I think fracking has got to be banned in America. And by the way, Secretary Clinton, as the Secretary of State, as many people know, actively pushed the fracking technology on countries throughout the planet. Now, in my view, the toxic chemicals, it's not my view, but it is widely known, the toxic chemicals used in fracking are known to cause cancer and birth defects. Both the EPA and the National Academy of Sciences have shown clear evidence that fracking can lead to a contaminated water supply. The truth is that there is simply no good way to contain the cocktail of toxic chemicals pumped into the ground. The threat it poses to our families is simply too great. Moreover, and importantly, the threat of methane emissions from fracking presents a profound danger to our climate. Methane traps more than 86 times the heat of carbon dioxide. And let me mention another issue which is surfacing, which is very important to California. Over Memorial Day weekend, the U.S. Department of the Interior released 2 reports on fracking that found, quote, no significant risk to the environment, end of quote, if oil and gas companies start fracking offshore here in California. Make no mistake about it, this was a very, very bad decision by the federal government that will not be allowed to stand. If I have anything to say about it, and as president, I will have a lot to say about it. Offshore fracking has the potential to pollute the ocean with toxic fluid, to hurt the environment, and to harm our beautiful beaches. That risk, to me, is unacceptable. In the Senate, I have co-sponsored legislation with Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon and Senator Barbara Boxer of California to end the extraction of all fossil fuels on public lands, including our federal waters. We cannot put California's beaches at risk. We have got to stop offshore fracking. It is time to keep it in the ground. And last but not least, I hope that every person in this country understands what Donald Trump and most Republicans sadly do not understand. And that is that climate change is very, very real, that it is caused by human activity, that it is already doing devastating harm in our country, in California, and all over this planet. And if we do not get our act together in the very short term and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, the bad situation, the dangerous situation we are seeing today will only become much, much worse. So our goal going forward is not more fracking, not more dependency on fossil fuel. It is to transform our energy system to sustainable energy and to energy efficiency. Thank you all very much. Okay, any questions from the media on fracking? Anything on fracking, sir?
Senator, is Secretary Clinton moderate on environmental issues like fracking?
Well, as I've just indicated, when you talk about, quote-unquote, regulating fracking, I think that means very, very little. The issue is whether we ban fracking or whether we do not. And as I mentioned, Secretary Clinton's record when she was Secretary of State in pushing the technology of fracking on foreign countries is certainly not the kind of record we want for somebody who wants to become President of the United States. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Have you discussed with Governor Jerry Brown his position on fracking?
No.
You intend to?
No. No, I hope to, yes.
what do you see as the possibility of getting the Democratic platform to include this ban on fracking? Because the last edition of it said we need to be responsible, but didn't say ban with the makeup of the committee. And also as part of that, did the Democrats say they didn't want more union members as part of the committee? You got Bill McKibben saying this. But.
Well, two issues. Thank you. That's a good question. In my view, I worry very much about the future of clean water in the United States, and in fact, clean water around the world. I think this is one of the looming crises that we're seeing, and as one of the speakers pointed out, it is not just Flint, Michigan that is struggling with clean water. It is hundreds of communities all over this country. And I got to tell you something, because the American media has not done a great job on this. The American people don't know it. And somebody here, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are tens of thousands of homes right here in California where you turn on the faucet, but you can't drink the water. All right? This isn't, yes? Is that correct?
That's correct, in this county, actually.
Right. Think about it. In this beautiful county, in the state of California, tens of thousands of homes do not access clean drinking water. They have to bring in bottled water at, by the way, great expense. And if we do not act aggressively on fracking and other issues, this problem will only spread. So to my mind, in terms of the Democratic platform, absolutely. The Democratic platform going into the general election should make it absolutely clear that the Democratic Party stands with the American people, with the people of California, for a ban on fracking. Your other question was, yes, what we heard from the DNC was they did not want representatives of labor unions on the platform drafting committee. That's correct, to the best of my knowledge. Yes, ma'am.
Senator Sanders, do you mind if I take the opportunity, since you brought up Secretary Clinton, to ask about your campaigns here in California?
Well, let me stay on fracking, because I know how interested you all are on the important issues facing the American people and not on politics, right? Yeah. All right. Any other questions on fracking? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, can you elaborate? I know you touched on this. Can you elaborate on the importance of this stance you're taking today in Monterey County?
Sure. To me, honestly, this is kind of a no-brainer. And I applaud all of the counties who have already stood up and said no to fracking. Number one, in California, and increasingly in the United States, we have a water crisis. It goes without saying that we want to see clean drinking water in every home in America. Number two, it goes without saying that we want to protect the health and well-being of families and our children. And number three, it goes without saying that we have got to be extremely aggressive to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. So Monterey County can add its voice to what Vermont has done, to what New York State has done, and to what a number of counties here in California have done. And every time another county comes on board, the momentum grows to say that we should ban fracking not only in California, but throughout this country. Yes, ma'am.
An initiative is going to cross the desk of the Board of Supervisors of Monterey County today. What would be your recommendation to those officials?
I think we should ban fracking in every county in the United States of America, and if elected president, I will do that nationally. Okay, yeah, on fracking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just like to follow up on Dave's question. Do you feel like you have a chance at succeeding in getting the Democratic Party to adopt a ban on fracking with the platform, and what makes you think they'll budge there? And also, what can voters expect from your campaign after the California primary leading up to the convention?
When we're on fracking.
You can answer both, sir.
I would hope and expect that the Democratic National Convention makes it clear that it is on the side of the American people. It is on the side of the minority communities who often most experience the negative impacts of fracking from a health point of view. I would hope that the Democratic Party makes it clear that it has the guts to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the health of our children or the future of our planet. Yeah, it's exactly what I expect from the Democratic National Convention, to do what the American people want them to do, and I believe the American people do want a ban on fracking. All right, is that, if people want to ask other questions, yes, ma'am.
Please. Okay. All right. Thank you. Back on the campaigns here in California.
Well, I didn't know we were back on it. I thought we were talking about fracking. All right, you want to go back on it? Okay.
Yes, please. I wanted to get your sense of how things are shaping up here for your campaign.
Good.
Hillary Clinton, as you know, canceled an event in New Jersey to come back to California.
And I'm shocked. You know why? Because you all told me the campaign was over. It is. I wonder why Secretary Clinton and her husband Bill are back in California. I thought we had lost and it was all over, but I guess Secretary Clinton maybe is looking at some polling would suggest otherwise. Here's what we are doing. There are, as you all know, 6 primaries and caucuses coming up on June 7th, and obviously the largest one, the most significant one, with 475 delegates, is the state of California. I have been going nonstop from one end of the state to the other. We have now done some 26 rallies, and the turnout in these rallies has been extraordinary. When we began, our goal was to speak directly, because that's the kind of politics I love, directly to 200,000 Californians. A lot. I don't think anybody in maybe California history has done that. Well, you know what? We're going to surpass 200,000. We're on our way to approaching 250,000 Californians who have come directly out to our meetings. So we think we have a lot of momentum. And, who knows what happens. But I just think the support that we are seeing throughout this state is extraordinary. I think we have an excellent chance to win California, and it is just possible that we might win it in a significant way. And if we win California, and if we win South Dakota, and North Dakota, and Montana, and New Mexico, and New Jersey, well, I think we will be, and following week, do well in Washington, D.C. I think we will be marching into the Democratic Convention with an enormous amount of momentum. And you have a situation where poll after poll after poll, just 2 more polls came out in the last day or two, saying that Bernie Sanders does much, much better against Donald Trump than does Hillary Clinton. I think a lot of the delegates in Philadelphia are going to be scratching their heads, and I think some of them, hopefully a lot of them, will come to the conclusion that if we want to beat Donald Trump, and it is absolutely imperative for the future of this country that we defeat Donald Trump, then Bernie Sanders will be the candidate for President of the United States from the Democratic Party. Yes.
You started March and April with a little bit more money than you did in May. So I'm just wondering, how have you had to change your strategy in California compared to Ohio and New York where you had more money? And how was your fundraising last month?
Going actually really quite well. Remember, when you have 30 or 40 states ahead of you, you need a lot more money than when you have 6 states and 3 non-states. So we have absolutely the financial resources that we need to run a very, very strong campaign here in California and in the other states and in D.C. and in Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and throughout the rest of the campaign. So we're feeling pretty good. We're putting most of our resources into grassroots efforts. We have tens of thousands of volunteers in the state. People are on the phone. They make astronomical numbers of telephone calls. They're knocking on doors. They're out on street corners. So we have the resources to win here in California. And I, again, want to thank the 2 million people, and this is extraordinary. It's unprecedented in American political history. We have received almost 8 million campaign contributions from 2 million people, averaging $27 apiece. And if it wasn't for those people, we would not be here fighting and going to win here in California. Yes?
Senator, what will you be doing after June 7th?
What will you be doing after June 7th? Will you be flying to D.C. to do events? Will you be flying to talk to superdelegates around the country?
Well, we certainly are going to contest the primary in D.C. We hope to win in D.C., so I can expect that after the 7th we'll be working hard there. And we will also, as you indicate correctly, be talking to superdelegates. Look, as I think everybody who knows anything about politics understands, that Secretary Clinton won the support of over 400 superdelegates before anybody else was in the campaign. Months before I had decided to run. She had over 400 superdelegates 8 months before the first ballot was cast in the first caucus in Iowa. Now, frankly, that is an absurd process to my mind. And I think there are people all across the Democratic political spectrum who are beginning to understand that that process of superdelegates declaring for a candidate 8 months before the first ballot is cast in the nominating process makes no sense at all. Because you don't know what happens in the campaign. So the case that we are going to be making to the superdelegates is severalfold. Number one, please listen, and that is beginning to happen. We just won a delegate in Hawaii, I think yesterday. Please listen to the voters in your own state. And if there are states where we have won with 60, 65, 70, 80% of the vote, I think it really is incumbent upon the superdelegates to go with the people of their state. And that's true for the case where Clinton won states very in big numbers. Number two, and again, most important, I would hope that those superdelegates who came on Secretary Clinton's campaign 8 months before the first ballot was cast, who did not have the opportunity, of course, to get a sense of how the campaign would unfold, make the most important decision that they have to make, and think hard about it. And that is, which candidate for the Democratic nomination is the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump. And it's not just polls. I mean, polls come out every day, and I think in every instance, whether it's a national poll or a state poll came out a few days ago here in California, which is one of the most progressive states in this country. Secretary Clinton was 10 points ahead of Trump. I was 17 points ahead of Trump. There have been states where Clinton has lost to Trump, where we have won Trump. This is too important an election not to bring forth our strongest candidate. And I think the polling indicates that I'm the strongest candidate. But more important than that is if you look at the energy and the enthusiasm and the millions of people we are bringing into the political process. Go to the rallies, and what you're going to find is working class people, young people who in the past have not been involved in politics. Well, they're involved in politics now. And that tells me, and I think any objective observer would agree, that it is our campaign that has the energy and the enthusiasm. And what that translates to is the fact that Republicans win elections when people are demoralized and don't come out to vote,